Today we have Matt Jamie. Matt is the founder and owner of Bourbon Barrel Foods, and they have a pretty awesome tagline and quote, and it's "Eat your bourbon."
Ed Bly and Rising Tide Spirits are back again with a new release of Old Stubborn Bourbon. And this release of Old Stubborn is a premium hand marriage of 10, 11, and 12-year cask strength, barely filtered pot still bourbon. It comes in at a staggering 123.8 proof, and the flavoring grain for this one, which the last one was wheated, but this time it's now rye. Rich, sweet, and bold with a long finish that's sure to be another eye-opener. You can order online at Sealbox or thebourbonconcierge.com, and you can even purchase in person at Revival Vintage Spirits, and even now with very few select stores in Kentucky. You can get it now while you can, but be sure to do it because it's not going to last long. Do you ever pour yourself a bourbon, swirl it around, and then start struggling to come up with tasting notes? And perhaps you're also looking for a good Father's Day gift idea. Well, you can now solve both with a kit from Knows Your Bourbon. And unlike other nosing kits on the market, Knows Your Bourbon kits feature real ingredients for the most authentic aromas. You can smell real Tahitian vanilla bean instead of some synthetic aroma that's just made from chemicals. So head on over to knowsyourbourbon.com and enter code BP10 for 10% off your order. From their bar to yours, Chad and Sarah of the popular YouTube channel It's Bourbon Night bring you their favorite at-home old-fashioned mix with the new Elemental Elixir's Golden Hour Syrup. It's a custom-made syrup with notes of bold black tea, warm spices, and orange zest. All you need is your favorite whiskey and ice. No bitters needed. One bottle makes 16 drinks, so that's only $1 a cocktail before you add your own whiskey. They can also be enjoyed in other cocktails or spirits, mocktails, coffee, tea, and anything you can think of. It's crafted locally in Lexington, Kentucky, and you can get your bottle now at whiskeyambitions.com. Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many great bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single barrel bourbon to try with some help from one of their friendly guides. And with every bottle comes the confidence of knowing you just found something amazing. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find only at Total Wine & More. Curbside pickup and delivery available in most areas. Visit TotalWine.com to learn more. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly and be 21.
Play Whiskey Wednesday Round 11, the memory game. Until June 26, each week you can win one of our 12 incredible grand prizes. Select $2 at checkout. And if they match on drawing night, you'll win that bottle. Not a match? No worries. You still score a Weller 12-year. Every $5 ticket gives you 5 chances to win, including 4 weekly bonus prizes. Get your tickets now at give270.org. Charitable Gaming License ORG 0002703.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Pursuit podcast. My name's Kenny, and we've taken a little bit of a hiatus, and we apologize for that. Sometimes life just gets in the way. Bourbon hunting gets in the way. Actually, you know what? I think lots and lots of bourbon hunting have gotten in the way. This is our first episode we've done in about a month now. So we apologize, but we got a lot of great guests lined up here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. BTAC and Pappy season just concluded here in Kentucky. There was actually a huge raffle last night that brought in probably close to 1,000 people for about 100 bottles. I was out there, and my toes were freezing, and I came up empty, and so did all my friends. But that's going to be something we're going to hold off for another week, because we're going to record another episode with another blogger that's going to talk all about bourbon hunting. So stay tuned for that. But as always, Ryan, we're back on the show here. So Ryan, did you end up with any good bottles the past few weeks during this release season?
No, nothing. I was kind of lazy / busy with the twins. I didn't quite get to hunt like I wanted to, but I would go randomly in a liquor store and like you would be there with everyone. I'm like, well, I came to get wine, and here you all are camping out for BTAC or Pappy. So it was fun just seeing you guys and wishing I was there. But no, I didn't get much. I'm still hoping to. There's a couple more raffles I'm going to try to hit in the next couple weeks. But other than that, no, I've just been playing dad, man. It's busy. That takes up way more time than I ever thought, but it's all good. So
yeah, I think the fact that you have twins is what's the killer there for you, right? I mean, with one, it's kind of capable, right? Because me and you, we both have friends. They all have one kid, and for some reason, they're all out there. They're at the raffles. They're doing all this kind of stuff. But I think having twins is the killer for you.
Yeah, 2 at once is just devastating. No, it's amazing, but it's all my friends are like, "Oh, it's so easy, just living with your wife." I'm like, "You don't understand with 2 at the same time. It's just mayhem, but it's controlled chaos." But no, it's cool. I did get to do my first private barrel selection tasting at Four Roses, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and
talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so a friend of mine owns a liquor store in Bardstown called Toddy's Liquors, and he was selecting about 5 barrels out of 10 to do a private bottle selection for his store. So he called me up and said I don't know, I guess he thinks I know what I'm talking about, which I don't. But he called me and we went to Four Roses there in Claremont at the bottling facility, and they rolled out about 10 barrels, pulled the bung out, they put the thieve in, and then they pour each glass, with 10 different mash bills. And, you basically go through and do them all side by side and pick out which 5 you like best. You compare your sheet to the other guys, and then, voila, you got your 5 bottles or 5 barrels that are going to be bottled, and they said it'll be in like spring. So I'm surprised it takes that long, but it'll be March before they get bottled.
So is it going to have a logo on the side that says Toddy's Liquor in coordination with Bourbon Pursuit Podcast?
I wish it would. That would be a lot cooler if it did, but I highly doubt he's going to put us on there.
Well, we'll try to work that in for the next one.
Exactly. Yeah. So no, it was a cool experience, and that was awesome. And we picked out 5 really awesome barrels, but at the end we had a bunch of leftovers, so he's like, yeah, you can do whatever you want them. So I blended them all together in a water bottle, and I put it in a decanter at home, and honestly that tastes better than any of the barrels by themselves. So I made my own small batch of Four Roses, and it's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. Well, cool.
So I'll let you try it next time I see you.
I cannot say no to that. We'll go ahead and put that one in our calendar.
Good deal.
So let's go ahead and we'll kick off the show. So today we have Matt Jamie. Matt is the founder and owner of Bourbon Barrel Foods, and they have a pretty awesome tagline and quote, and it's "Eat your bourbon." And I'm actually excited to have Matt on the show because I have some of his mint julep sugars downstairs in my bar. So Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on here.
Absolutely. So let's kick this off and kind of ask you about your bourbon story. I know you're a Louisville native. Has bourbon always been in your blood like ours?
I think we've always been aware of it. When I was growing up, it wasn't as popular. It was. But as I grew up, as I aged, I became more enamored with it. Yes, and then I went to school out of state, so everybody was aware of it, and it just became a sense of pride for me. And it grabbing that bottle when I went to school in Illinois, and you grab a bottle and it says Louisville, Kentucky on it, and you show it to your friends, and they all kind of thought it was cool.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to a small college in Galesburg, Illinois called Knox College for undergrad, and I did graduate school at the University of Florida.
And
nice.
Yeah, I know. So I guess maybe University of Florida might see a little bit more parties with bourbon down there. Was your college experience? Was there a lot of bourbon at your parties? Because I know at least.
Of course there was.
I was to say, I was like in Kentucky, I went to UK and so did Ryan. It was definitely something that was pretty prominent around the parties that we always went to.
Yeah. Well, and football games and flasks, yes, it was a big part of my college experience.
Nice.
But, I came up with the idea to do what it is that we're doing right now down in Gainesville. I dropped out of graduate school. I never finished. My degree is in exercise physiology, and so I was getting my master's there. A year in, I realized that I was a horrible student, and I think I knew all along I was, but I had to be reminded of it. And it was a very hard program, so I left, and I went to the the only other thing that I was comfortable doing and that I had a knack for, and that was cooking. And I started on a line at a restaurant, and I realized that it wasn't just a hobby for me, that it was a passion. And food and flavor and developing those type of things came easy to me. I wasn't going to be a career chef though, and I kind of knew that. And one night after work, I was at an oyster bar with a buddy of mine, and I was just angling for a way out of the kitchen. He's like, "Well, what do you think you're going to do?" And I was like, "I want to get into the gourmet foods business." And I said, "No one's microbrewing soy sauce in the U.S." And he's like, "That's kind of a cool idea." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe I'll do something like that." And then I totally forgot that I said it to him. And a month later, he reminded me, and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "You know what? I am going to research that. It sounds, I wanted to do something that no one else had done before." And as a chef, you have to be aware of food trends. And this was, early 2001, 2002, when I came up with the idea. And, it was a lot of cities were getting these micro roasteries for coffee, or the artisan bread companies were popping up. And there was a back to basics approach for a lot of products that was happening. And so soy sauce just kind of popped in my head. I knew nothing about it, absolutely nothing about it. You have an idea like that, the first thing you want to do is Google it, see if anybody else had the idea. No one did. And then from there, it's like, well, why hasn't anybody done it? So I researched it for about 4 years. We moved back to Kentucky in 2005. And I started to see all these similarities and parallels between the brewing of soy sauce and the distilling of bourbon. I did a lot of work with the University of Kentucky, their ag marketing and ag economics department, with identifying the proper soybean to use for soy sauce. And as it turns out, the Ohio Valley is a huge source for the Japanese soy and miso market. So they identified 2 farmers in the state that were actually growing for the Japanese. And, I contacted them, and I buy beans from them, beans that were actually meant to go to Japan. We also buy our wheat from these farmers. It's a soft red winter wheat, and then the water. We all know why the water is so important in the bourbon industry, but it helps with our story with the soy sauce. It's that limestone filtered Kentucky spring water. It's a very hard water. It gives bourbon body. Does the same thing for the soy sauce. Also, those minerals and nutrients that are in the water react well with yeasts. They help yeasts to cultivate. There's yeast involved with bourbon. There's also a yeast involved with making soy sauce. So the water helped with us with our story, and then the bourbon barrel kind of completed it. I originally wasn't going to use them because I thought it was too cliche, but again, it totally completed the story. And we
match made in heaven.
Yeah, and a weird idea like brewing soy sauce in the U.S. could have happened anywhere, but it makes the most sense with what I know about how the product is made, its history and heritage. Kentucky is the absolute perfect place to try and do something like this, and I think we've proven that it works. We've been very successful with that product. Naturally brewed soy sauce takes a minimum of 6 months. We age ours for a full year in the barrel. By a Japanese standard, they have 6 different standards for soy sauce, and their super premium varieties are aged between 12 and 18 months. So we're kind of like we pride ourselves on, crafting a very high quality product. And it's, of all the products we have, I can't keep it in stock. We can't make it fast enough, keep it in the bottle. We sell it to restaurants. We sell it to wholesalers all over the country. We're kind of like, someone told me once I was the Pappy Van Winkle of soy sauce. But I can't afford to be out of it.
Right.
Well, that's a good problem to have. So I guess, I'm not into the culinary food scene. So the only time I think of eating soy sauce is on like Chinese takeout. I guess give me
sushi.
Yeah, and
Sushi's
sushi. Yeah, so give me and some of our listeners kind of an idea of other foods that you can concoct with your bluegrass soy sauce.
Well, soy sauce is the oldest, most widely used condiment in the entire world. I would look at it as a salt alternative. There's it's described as that umami flavor profile. So it's like the fifth flavor sense that you have. It encompasses all things, meaty, brothy, leathery. It adds depth of flavor to everything. Soy sauce, it has only been in the U.S. for about 50 years, maybe 50, 55 years. So it's relatively new here. In Japan, there's, 1,500 microbrewers. Over there, it's a lot like beer in Germany, wine in France, or bourbon here. It's very regional, varying mash bills. They all have soybeans, but some of them have different levels of wheat in them. Unlike bourbon, there's only one strain of yeast that will make soy sauce. There's no proprietary strain. But you can use it on just about everything. I put it on a McDonald's cheeseburger one time, and it made it taste phenomenal.
I use it in marinades a lot for chicken. It's really awesome for chicken.
It gives good depth of flavor, but the soy sauce is, it was the original product that I put out. It was the original idea. But it takes me a year to make it. So I had to come up with other things to pay for the idea. And, things like bourbon smoked sea salt, bourbon smoked pepper, bourbon smoked paprika.
I was about to say, the Christmas season is upon us, and I know a lot of people out there, they struggle to find gifts for the bourbon drinker in their life. So yeah, talk about some of the other products that you make and, what really makes them special.
Yeah. Well, we don't use bourbon as an ingredient in everything that we make. We'll use the barrel to influence things. We'll smoke with it. So we have a line of spices and sugar that we smoke with that oak that's been saturated with bourbon for 7 years. We'll age in barrels. And on occasion, I think I have less than 5 products that we actually add bourbon to. But I used those products to pay for the soy sauce. And they're all, they're very versatile. They're just things like salt, pepper, paprika, sugar, different spice blends like chili powder. They have a little bit of barrel influence in them, but we've grown the brand to become more of a lifestyle type product line that we have. They sold both in retailers around the country. Restaurants use a lot of them. So restaurants have become about 22% of my business. The product line is diverse. It's not just Southern cooking with what we do. We've proven through the chefs that we sell to and the outlets where people can buy it, that it's more of it's more versatile than just Southern cooking. We have close to 40 products now that we sell. We kind of grew past the charming business stage a few years ago, and 4 years ago signed a licensing and branding contract with Woodford Reserve. So I do all their cocktail and culinary products that aren't chocolate. We didn't get that deal. I'm not a chocolate maker, but we do. We do bitters. We do 3 flavors of bitters for Woodford. We do a salad dressing. We do spice blends. We do simple syrups, and we have a cocktail cherry that we make for them.
Shopify's already taken the cash register online, helping millions sell billions around the world. But did you know that Shopify can do the same thing at your retail store? Give your point of sale system a serious upgrade with Shopify. Shopify's point of sale is your command center for your retail store. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify has everything you need to sell in person. And with Shopify, you get a powerhouse selling partner that effortlessly unites your in-person and online sales into one source of truth. Track every sale across your business in one place and know exactly what's in stock. Connect with customers in line and online. Shopify helps you drive store traffic with plug-and-play tools built for marketing campaigns, from TikTok to Instagram and beyond. And get hardware that fits your business. Take payments by smartphone, transform your tablet into a point-of-sale system, or use Shopify's point-of-sale Go mobile device for a battle-tested solution. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Do retail right with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/bourbon, all lowercase, and go to shopify.com/bourbon to take your retail business to the next level today. Shopify.com/bourbon. If you're anything like me, then you can't get enough about bourbon. And that's why I'm a subscriber to Bourbon Plus magazine. Bourbon Plus is a quarterly publication that tells the stories from the heart of bourbon, the farmers who grow the grain, the distillers who labor over the process, and the people like you and me who raise their glasses to celebrate it all. Subscribe to Bourbon Plus magazine today at bourbonplus.com, that's PLUS.com, and use code PURSUIT at checkout for $5 off your subscription.
There's two products that I really am fascinated with that I kind of want you to talk about. First is the Kentuckiaki, and second is the Bourbon Madagascar vanilla extract, because I think that vanilla extract, that just sounds something that my wife needs to start getting in the kitchen and start making some awesome desserts with it or something.
Well, the Kentuckiaki is a fun product. It's just our version of teriyaki. You put a little bourbon in something and a little sorghum, and it becomes Kentuckiaki. You'll see a lot. The ingredient list on there is really simple, but everybody knows how to use teriyaki. It's one of the most popular marinades in the country. Ours has fresh ginger, fresh garlic, apple cider vinegar, soy sauce, and then the sorghum is the sweet part, and then bourbon gives it just a little bit of kick. The vanilla extract. A lot of my products are pretty complex. That's probably the easiest one that we do because I buy extract from a family that owns a vanilla extraction company in just outside St. Louis, third generation, and I buy drums of vanilla extract and pump it into bourbon barrels and let it sit there. So it's like one of the easiest things that we do here, and it is a very high quality vanilla.
I mean, it sounds good.
Easy to use.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
It's very easy stuff to use. That's the thing with our products is that, they can be as complicated as you want, but they're at the end of the day, they're very, very simple.
And then you give some of your followers some guidance because you have a lot of recipes on your website that range from like appetizers and breads to desserts and soups. So can you talk a little bit about those? Like maybe like how'd you get them? Did you create them? Is it just copy and paste from food.com? Like how'd you kind of?
So we have a research chef on staff. She researches recipes, tests recipes, and then recreates them for photography. We try and do things that are unique. And also she has been very, very successful with showing the versatility of the product. We have a cookbook coming out next year. It's called Eat Your Bourbon, of course. It has about 130 recipes in it, and we're bleeding some of them out little by little right now. But when you're a gourmet foods company, you need to have support for your products, and you can sell just salt, but as soon as you bourbon smoke the salt, somebody has to ask how to use it. And you tell them you just use it like you do salt. It just has a layer of flavor in there. Same with the pepper and everything else. The recipes give great support, and what Susan does in the kitchen here is absolutely amazing. And I think my staff loves it when she's around.
I would think so too.
Yeah. Let me know when the next test is. I'm always down to eat.
We have people that will just stop in our offices because they've read about us or seen us on TV, and they're interested in what it is we do. We had a truck driver pull off the expressway and stop here to buy something because he saw us on Bizarre Foods America. And people will stop in, and the lucky ones are the ones when there's a full table of food here that she's been testing all day for, the cookbook or the website. We had two couples come in one day, and there was mussels, there was sashimi, there was skirt steak. I mean, vegetables, desserts, drinks, and I was like, just sit down because everyone here is full.
That's too cool. So, I mean, I know this is probably like having to choose a favorite child, but do you have some of your favorite recipes that are available on the site that kind of anybody can go and play around with?
I like the ones that she's done with the soy sauce, but probably our best, the one that people visit the most is the sorghum cookie. You know, the sorghum is it's a Kentucky product. Sorghum is one of those, breakfast table sweeteners that, was really popular, back in the middle of last century. And Kentucky has always been the leading producer of it, but it was kind of a forgotten about condiment. And, recently we've been able to breathe a little bit of life into it, by making something that was old new again. And we introduce it as more of a gourmet condiment. And, the farmer we buy, when I first started with him in 2008, we were buying maybe one 55-gallon drum a year. Now he grows 50 acres for me. The sorghum is very similar in consistency to like a molasses or a honey, but it has a greater depth of flavor. This generation, they don't necessarily know how to use it. And so the cookie is a great way for them to taste it and use it. We're actually getting ready to start packaging the cookie because it's become so popular.
So there was something else that I was reading about. You got a sponsorship back in 2013 to help build a kitchen studio. Can you talk about that some more?
So we moved in these offices about 4 or 5 years ago. We took over, from a company had been in here and they moved out. So I inherited all the walls. I had no control over the design. And there was this one room that was meant to be, their board meeting room. And I immediately wanted to turn it into a theater kitchen. So, GE, their appliance division is local. I knew somebody over there and I said, hey, would you be interested in sponsoring this? And they sent somebody over. They did a layout. And they said, when do you want the appliances? This is what we're thinking of sending you. And I was like, send it now. I wasn't even ready, but I didn't want them to change their mind. They sent us quite the setup. It's nicer than anything I have at home. 2 refrigerators, 2 ovens, an under-counter refrigerator, a 56-inch hood and a 48-inch gas range and a dishwasher. It's absolutely amazing. It affords us the opportunity to have a kitchen that we use as a marketing tool. We'll do dinner parties in here. We do tastings. We've done book signings with chefs from all over the country. And now we've had a contract for 2 years with the guys that do Secrets of Louisville Chefs. They've filmed about 60 episodes in here.
Yep. See, actually, I see that show on Saturday mornings sometimes when you're just sitting there around.
Yeah, with Kevin Harned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys do a great job. It's like a free commercial for me. So the kitchen has become a really big part of our office.
Now, are you all still over there by Copper and Kings? Is that
Copper and Kings is by me? Yeah,
or Copper and Kings by you? Whatever.
They're directly. I was here first. I love Joe and everything that they do over there. He did an amazing job with that place over there. But they're directly behind me on Washington Street. My loading docks are catty corner to theirs.
I can't remember the name of that store that with all the
Work the Metal.
Work the Metal. Yes, my wife loves that place, and she drugged me there one time. And then it was like on a Sunday and something. I look over and there's like all these bourbon barrels. I'm like, what is this? This is amazing.
For the longest time, that store kind of functioned as our corporate store. But in January of this year, I opened a retail store on Frankfurt Avenue between
nice.
Bailey and Haight, and it's done amazingly well. Very educated staff, and the store is gorgeous. We've had people ask us if we would franchise it into other cities. I'm like, I just want to get a year or two under my belt with this one because I knew nothing about retail when we started it.
Yeah, I frequent that store often, the last Friday of every month for the Frankfurt Avenue trolley hop. For anybody that lives outside of Louisville, there's a street here right on Frankfurt Avenue, which where the store is located, and there's free trolleys that run up and down the streets on the last Friday of every month, and you can just hop on, hop off. You can go and sample foods and wines at different bars and smaller restaurants, and then you can even go into other restaurants and have a full dinner. But yeah, then you can go and shop at all these places like Bourbon Barrel Foods right on the street.
And all the stores usually put out something special. We always do. We'll have a cocktail in there for you to sample, food for you to try, all showcasing our products. I feel really lucky to have what I have. I don't think in 2006, when I started this, anybody else in the bourbon industry thought that this trend, this popularity that bourbon is experiencing, not only on a national but a global level, would continue into 2016. It's amazing. I feel like my company was able to really complete the whole bourbon country experience. The CVB, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, has done a fantastic job with, generating a lot of tourism here in the city and the state. People are coming from all over the place to visit us. We're like the Napa Valley of the bluegrass. They visit the distilleries, they eat in the restaurants. We have this great gourmet foods component to it that, is very well defined. It's been fun for me. The stuff I'm doing, I couldn't believe somebody wasn't doing already. Every story has to have that little bit of luck to it. And my timing was really lucky. This could have been anybody's idea.
It's that first mover mentality.
And it makes sense too. I mean, bourbon's like the most versatile ingredient of cooking. You can do something very sweet, like a bread pudding, or savory, it's just very versatile.
It is. And there's cooking with bourbon, and then there's kind of what we do. If you listen to the mayor, he talks about bourbonism, and our last mayor would always make the comparison of Louisville is the gateway to bourbon country, in much the same way as San Francisco is the gateway to wine country. And I'm very familiar with that part of the country and what happens as far as food trends, and he's right. But if you went to San Francisco back, when I started my company, they had the romantic wineries, they had these fantastic restaurants, but they were also very trend-setting gourmet foods industry out there. If you came to Louisville, you had the distilleries, you had the great restaurants, but if you visited the gift shops, those places, there was barbecue sauce and spice rubs. They really didn't have anything else that was, exemplifying, what the state of Kentucky had to offer, what bourbon country was all about. And, that's what my company tried to do, was really fill that void. And that, I think we successfully did that. And it's been fun. We're like a satellite company that has popped up, that has surrounded the success of the bourbon industry. There's a lot of businesses like mine that have seen success just riding the coattails of what the bourbon industry has seen.
We all stand on the shoulders of giants.
That's right.
So to kind of complement that, we've had a handful of people that have written us messages, and they said, I never even thought about doing the Kentucky Bourbon Trail until I started listening to the show. And one of the things that I think would be something that would be so unique when they come, that's just not visiting distilleries, but you also host some other things in your kitchen, like the Eat Your Bourbon classes and the Chef Series. Now, can you talk about when do those usually run, during the times of the months or the year, so they can maybe plan accordingly, and how would they kind of get on the, in the queue to be able to attend that as well?
Well, we do probably 2 classes a month. We do one chef series, and we do one mixology class. We'll pull a chef in from the community, from the Louisville area, and they'll cook from their menu using my products. We sell seats for, they're $45 a piece, maybe $55. We have room for 24 people. It is, it's meant to be a sampling, but these chefs really throw everything at you when you're in here. Mixology classes. Last one we had Jackie Zykan, who's the new, mixologist for Old Forester, and she did 6 cocktails for everybody. So things like that, what we do in here, and you can find out more information about those. Like us on Facebook, or get on our email list, visit our webpage. All that information is there.
For anybody that lives outside of our great city, how can they get the hands on some of the Bourbon Barrel products that are available?
Best thing to do is order from our website. It's bourbonbarrelfoods.com. We actually, this time of year, we have some specials going on that will reduce the shipping cost. I think $75 purchases and over is free shipping. If you want to try and find it at a store, there's a retail store locator on our website as well. If you're in Louisville visiting, we do tours here as well. I'm not sure many people in the U.S. have actually toured a soy sauce brewery. So we've had good feedback from people. They find it interesting.
Well, there you go. Right there on the front page, it's the Eat Your Bourbon Gourmet gift box at $75, and you tack on free shipping. There's your bourbon drinkers and culinary expert Christmas gift right there. So, Matt, I want to say thanks again for being on the show. This was definitely a pleasure, and talking to you and learning not only just more about your story and how bourbon influenced it, but more about the products and how it's definitely filling, like you said, that void that's in the marketplace.
It's been fun. Like I said, I feel lucky. I have a great team that surrounds me. They all make me look smarter than I really am. And, continues to grow, which is great.
If you want to learn more about Bourbon Barrel Foods, you can, again, learn about them more online at bourbonbarrelfoods.com. You can like them on Facebook, and you can also follow them on Twitter at Bourbon Barrel. So, Matt, thanks again for being on the show. Ryan, we getting closing remarks from you?
No, just thank you. That was really cool. I want to do that tour of soy sauce because I like soy sauce, and I've never seen it brewed. So I'm definitely going to check that out. So that's a cool tidbit of information, but I really appreciate the time. I know this time of year is like crazy, but I've enjoyed a few of your products and they've been outstanding. So I appreciate you taking the time, and I'll be seeing you at the brewery here soon.
So if you like what you hear, make sure you like us on Facebook, Bourbon Pursuit. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Bourbon Pursuit. Listen to all the past episodes on iTunes. Subscribe to us on iTunes. You can also listen to the old episodes on bourbonpursuit.com. So that's going to wrap it up. We're going to get back to our usual ways and hopefully getting you a new episode at least once a week, maybe even twice a week. We'll see what happens here in the next few months, right? Everything's starting to slow down after bourbon release season's kind of coming to a halt. So
yep, we'll have some more time. So we'll get back to it.
Yeah, and then you can actually go back to not spreading fertilizer anymore, right? It's getting about that time of year for you.
Winter break's starting, so I'll have tons of time. So we're going to be going around central Kentucky again, getting all these interviews.
With that, we're going to wrap it up, and we'll see you all next time.